floods, and times to sow and harvest crops. Of all the constellations that we can see in the night sky, one of the prominent ones is Orion or Kalpurush. This distinctly visible star pattern represents Orion, the invincible hunter from Greek mythology. 3 bright stars in a straight line that make the belt of the hunter has age-old significance to mankind across several lands and cultures. Among the other constellations present in today's sky are Ursa Major or Great Bear constellation. In India, a part of this is called Saptarshi, Cassiopeia, the Queen, Taurus, the Bull, Cygnus, the Swan. With the advancement of technology, humans now have the power to look beyond these stars into the dark depth of space, a region which cannot be seen through our naked eyes because of its immense distance. The universe has opened up in front of us with its vast variety of objects and events of unimaginable characters and nature. With all this knowledge, we humans have tried to understand the cosmic progression of events, the origin and evolution of celestial bodies, and identified their colorful, enigmatic presence in the night sky. In our never-ending quest to understand the vast universe, we gaze toward the eternal night sky and continually reach outward to explore the unknown mystery.
dreaming one day perhaps to reach them. And if we are to outlive our planet, we will need to make this dream a reality. With modern technology, we can travel beyond Earth's atmosphere, but this isn't all new science. We are benefiting from the discoveries of generations of scientists reaching back into history. civilizations carefully observed the movements of objects across their skies, associating stars and planets with their gods. They imagined these held power over human lives. Thousands of years ago, Mesopotamian scholars developed new ways to understand and predict these celestial movements. By grouping stars into constellations and dividing angles into degrees, they were able to track the relative paths of sun and moon across the zodiac to predict eclipses, a feat giving them apparently godlike powers of prophecy. Believing the motions of planets and stars controlled human fates through astrological influence, ancient people were eager to calculate their movements. The science of astronomy was born from this need, with astronomy originally seen as the servant of the more highly regarded field of astrology. Astronomy had other uses too, and developed beyond the bounds of astrology. By 3000 BC, the Egyptians were charting time using a calendar based on a 365-day year, and day divided into 24 hours. Astrology continued to influence the decisions of rulers, offering a sense of control in an unpredictable world. It was used to guide decisions from when to plant crops to when to launch wars, giving astrologers great power. Astrology remained important until the 17th century, by which time advances in astronomy had challenged its core beliefs. Despite astrology being contrary to modern science, some still choose to believe in its powers, navigating their lives by the movements of the planets and stars. Careful observation of the night sky led not only to astrological predictions, but also to a deeper understanding of the motions of the stars. Almost all seemed to circle the sky within a day and night. But some were different. They moved across this backdrop of constantly circling stars. The ancient Greeks called these wanderers in their language, giving us the word planets. Many wandered in strange loops across the sky. In the 2nd century AD, the Greek scholar Claudius Ptolemy tried to explain the planet's motion. Assuming Earth was fixed in space at the center of the universe, with the other planets circling it, he explained their strange movements by having them also follow small circles he called epicycles. The view from Earth of each of these doubly circling planets reproduced the patterns that had been observed in the sky, including the unusual loops. The problem appeared solved, and this complex and bizarrely intricate model was generally accepted for 14 centuries, until Nicholas Copernicus considered the problem with a fresh gaze. Copernicus was a Polish scholar who revolutionized 16th century astronomy with his ideas. His model removed Earth from its privileged position at the center of the universe and placed the sun there instead. the Earth became just one more planet, with epicycles reduced to tiny adjustments. The mystery of the wandering planets was finally revealed. Copernicus explained that the strange loops were created by our own movement through space. As Earth orbits the Sun, our view of the solar system changes. Adding this to the planet's own motion recreated the strange patterns that had confused astronomers for centuries.
Brother Luther, what are your thoughts of the astrologer Nicholas Copernicus?
Do not speak his name. It is a great sin to deny the teachings of Holy Scripture, which clearly and distinctly state that Joshua ordered the sun to stop moving over Gibeon. He must retract.
But there are others who now follow his thinking.
That Earth should revolve around the sun. But that is counter to everything we know from astronomy. Sheer nonsense. Blasphemy.
Don't distress yourself, Brother Luther. Let me brew some herbs to calm you.
Copernicus's model was not generally accepted for many more years, and it was still not perfect. The small epicycles that it still required were correcting for the fact the planets do not move in perfect circles. It wasn't until the 17th century that the eminent astronomer Johannes Kepler built on Copernicus's theory to become the first person in history to accurately describe planetary movements.
Prague, 28th of May, 1603. Master Maslin, I am writing this letter in the hope that this time I will manage to persuade you. We must be bold and have an open mind, adjusting our understanding to the facts. If God, by his grace, saw fit to give us as careful an observer as my mentor, Tycho Brahe, we should accept his gift with gratitude and put it to good use. Thanks to his precise observations of Mars, I can see that the planets must orbit along ellipses at varying speed, and although few have come to believe what I have discovered, I will not cease to fight for the truth.
This is absolutely impossible. If the Earth were in constant motion, as that madman claims, the birds would end up getting left far behind. There are no invisible strings keeping them attached to the Earth, after all.
And it's just as ludicrous, this idea that the sun keeps the planets moving around it in a fixed plane, along some sort of invisible orbit. The planets and stars are clearly attached to fixed spheres, revolving around the Earth. Otherwise, they would drop out of the sky.
This is not nonsense. The world must be ruled by physical laws that can be expressed mathematically. These laws are in everything we see and touch. Take the perfect hexagonal symmetry of this simple snowflake. Why else should such pure geometry be observed in nature? And what of the honeycomb, or the symmetry of the seeds of a pomegranate? Surely, they have been designed so by the Creator.
Kepler's theory described the planets orbiting the Sun not in perfect circles, but in ellipses. Such an apparently small change was truly revolutionary and an ingenious solution that would entirely remove the need for epicycles. So, did this great discovery bring Kepler joy and fame? Was he celebrated as a genius for his important discovery? No. As with Copernicus, his ideas were too revolutionary to be quickly accepted. It was only after his death that his work was taken up by other scientists to be further developed. Kepler's theory had planets orbiting in ellipses, where one focus of the ellipse would be fixed at the Sun. This became known as Kepler's first law. The difference was small enough not to have been discovered before, yet large enough to noticeably affect the planet's motions. Orbiting objects follow elliptical paths, including the Earth's artificial satellites. Here, the Earth being at one focus. If both foci of an ellipse are brought to the same point, a circle is formed, a circle being a special form of ellipse. The further the foci are drawn apart, the more stretched the ellipse becomes. Using Tycho Brahe's careful observations, Kepler was able to make a further discovery. By studying planets, he found that objects in elliptical orbits did not travel at a set speed. The closer they were to the focus, the faster they went. Interestingly, a line drawn out to an orbiting object over a set time will always sweep out an equal area. This is Kepler's second law. Kepler's laws are central to modern spaceflight. They are used to calculate the paths of spacecraft and to control the thousands of satellites that orbit our planet.
Orbital insertion 1 complete. First correction burn in 90 seconds.
Explorer, roger that. You'll go for CB1.
Have you ever wondered how a spacecraft can navigate accurately to a space station traveling at 20 times the speed of sound? These exacting maneuvers rely upon Kepler's laws. First, a powerful carrier rocket forces the spacecraft through the resistance of the atmosphere and out into initial orbit. Here, the spacecraft is released and smaller maneuvers are carried out, with brief bursts from the engines adjusting its orbit to meet up with the space station. To raise the orbit, a first burn pushes the craft into an elliptical orbit. At the opposite side of Earth, a second burn re-establishes a circular orbit. This fuel-efficient way to change the height of orbit is known as a Hohmann transfer and is calculated using Kepler's laws. After small adjustments nudge them into exactly the orbit they need, the astronauts must now wait. In this phasing orbit, they are lower than the space station and so they orbit more quickly. They wait as their spacecraft catches up to its target. At just the right moment, another transfer is used to place the spacecraft directly in front of the space station. Finally, the craft turns in a delicate maneuver and approaches the station. Knowledge and skills gained from the missions to the International Space Station have paved the way for the next historic step for human space travel: to land on another planet, Mars. The Mars mission will require the design and testing of multiple complex systems. The craft must be capable of sustaining life across hundreds of millions of kilometers of space, protecting the astronauts from harmful radiation. Kepler's laws are key. After leaving Earth orbit, the craft becomes a satellite of the Sun, orbiting it in accordance with Kepler's laws. To reach Mars, the mission's solar orbit must be massively increased. Mars orbits the Sun at about 1.5 times the distance of Earth. A Hohmann transfer is used, but the huge scale of this maneuver means it will take over half a year. It is critical to correctly calculate when to begin the transfer. Kepler's third law is now called in. This law relates the time of orbit to height, with objects at greater height taking longer to complete an orbit. This, with the other laws, is used to predict the future position of Mars. Crucially, the required positioning of Earth and Mars to allow this to happen occurs only once every 2 years. Mysterious, it may soon become our second home. Such an incredible leap into our future would never have been possible without past generations of scientists. We have a duty to continue their work, each of us building on the discoveries of those who have gone before. We must not be afraid to explore, to dream.